All right, I am joined with Joe Killinger out of LA, a commercial broker powerhouse. We're so excited you're here with us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning. As I was telling you before we hit record, we have a lot of residential agents, but you're in the commercial space. Talk about your real estate journey. Did you go straight into that? How'd you get into this crazy world?
I was in residential once, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. I'm more of a numbers guy, and I like structuring the deals. And I tried it for a while. Then I got an opportunity. I came from real estate auction, so I'll kind of give you my background here real quick. So my name's Joe Killinger. I hate saying real estate entrepreneur, but I guess that's kind of got my fingers in a lot of different pies. We have Commercial Brokers International in Los Angeles, I'm a partner in. We have Icon Capital Advisors, it's a commercial real estate mortgage company I'm a partner in. We have Commercial Real Estate Affiliate Network that I'm a partner in. And so I like to take companies and build them. I've got three companies that I've previously done. In the first 18 months, we hit 5 million in revenue. And all of them have been different. The first one was an auction company, no internet, that was strictly cold calling, right? So you can imagine how that was. And then the second one was through residential agents, working out referral fees with them. I came into a residential real estate firm, DBL Realtors in Los Angeles. It's now Sotheby's here, and we just reached out to all the residential agents saying, "Hey, we're doing this commercial division. Bring me referrals." Deals started flooding in. I learned how to qualify really quickly. And then the last one is the one we're in, Commercial Brokers International. We actually have a commercial brokerage company. I'm in the studio. We built a studio for all of our agents to use to create content. So, which residential agents are way ahead of commercial as far as the marketing. But we do a lot. I focus a lot with joekillinger.co that's behind me. I really focus on helping agents and some brokerages as well build their business because I find that especially with commercial real estate agents, as we were talking before, we have a dropout rate of about 87 to 92% in the first few years. So I'm doing everything I can to help them really find their footing. Matter of fact, there's a booklet on joekillinger.co. You can go in, and everything on the website's free. There's forms that you can get. There's recommended reading from top producing agents on there. And I wrote a booklet called Your First 90 Days in Commercial Real Estate. You can go and download. It's free. And I also wrote another booklet that is how to grow your commercial real estate company, talking about my experience and the mistakes I made when we launched Commercial Brokers International. It's not that long of a read, but we did make a lot of mistakes.
Well, yeah, not just commercial, but residential. The numbers vary, but somewhere between an 85% to a 95% failure rate, saying, yeah, like only 5% of agents succeed and can pay their bills. Why do you think this rate is so high?
Lack of training. And this is on both sides of it. So I've been through both. Now, when I was doing residential, they offered classes, and most of the agents weren't there. I was in there every day trying to learn how to do this and really trying to figure out residential real estate because I'd come from auction background, real estate auction background. So I was wiping the slate and starting over, just like I did when we got into commercial. Wipe that slate, had to learn commercial real estate. But I know for a fact in commercial real estate right now, there's just not enough training that's being done. So people are getting in the industry, they're getting frustrated or they're running out of money. And it's hard. It's hard because a lot of the big firms will do, let's say, I'm a junior getting into commercial real estate and you're my senior and you're supposed to be mentoring me. But honestly, Christina, how hard are you going to mentor me if I'm bringing you leads on a daily basis because I'm cold calling? You kind of like having me there as a generator. Now I know a lead generator, but the goal is to have them learn as they're going and really increase their knowledge so they can become part of the team or more part of a team. But it's just a slow process, and that's in the bigger firms. Now in the smaller firms, a lot of them don't do any training or very very little of it. So they really rely on entrepreneurial people. And I can tell you a little bit about what we do at Commercial Brokers International, which is a lot, is we do training every morning at 8:30 in the morning with our newer agents. And it's about 45 minutes. It's with the CEO of the company. He goes through contracts. He goes through the legal side of it even. Really breaks it down for you, shows you how to analyze properties. And then on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, we take a few minutes and we sit down with the agents. It takes about 15 minutes and go, what's working for you and what's not working for you? Why are you not booking leads, or why are you booking leads? What's working so well? And where's your weakness? Let's work on that. Let's double down on your strength. Those conversations are really what I think is lacking in our industry.
So I think at least on the residential side, between all the podcasts, all the YouTube, a lot of brokerage doing trainings 24/7, I don't think training is a problem. It's more willpower and being organized and getting up and putting some clothes on rather than wearing your jammies all day. And I think that that's what we see is, learning the contracts, learning the numbers. That's kind of easy. It's trying to find people that want to buy and sell with you on a daily basis. And I think they forget that this is a sales job.
Well, when we were doing so during lockdown for COVID, we were doing training over Zoom. And I can tell you, after a year of that, we had to retrain. There's just when you have somebody actually sitting in front of you training you instead of on Zoom, they didn't learn anything on Zoom. It just was we did it every day at noon just so we had something to do. We were sitting there watching our hair grow, right? So we decided to do that kind of training. And I see the training that's online, and the problem is so many of these people. I always say to people, make sure you're listening to people that are where you want to go, not people are sitting there selling you something. Buy my book, watch my videos. Those people they haven't been through it. You want to find people that have been through the process. And there are people out there that are great to learn from, but you've got to weed through a lot of junk people because it's really hard. Because, like you said, there's a ton of podcasts, there's a ton of YouTube videos. I see them and I watch a few minutes of them, like, oh my God, this person obviously has never done the business, or they've just kind of skated through it. So you got to be smart and find the people that are where you want to get to.
That's smart. When you're doing your trainings with people, like, do you say, hey, if you want to join our brokerage, you have to go to all these trainings every single morning? You have to be involved in this? And do you get pushback on it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So here in brokerage, here's one. Now, here's a funny thing. We've got our competitors have come in and sat in our classes. We don't care. The goal is, Commercial Brokers International, we do classes every morning. People know that. We had other brokers from other companies come and sit in and say, you know what, I learned a lot here. And they come and go as they want, but it's not structured. But I am an investor. And the way I look at it is, if you're going to come join my firm, I'm going to have to invest a lot of money in you, because all the tools we give you are not cheap. It's thousands of dollars a month. And if you're not coming to the classes and you don't know what's going on in the marketplace, matter of fact, I won't let you on the phones until you know your market better than anybody else. Because week number one, let's say you're doing multifamily in Hollywood, I'm going to sit down with you and go, okay, you've learned the market. Now let's sit down. How many properties are on the market in Hollywood right now? Okay. What's the average days on market? What's the average list price compared to the average sales price? What's the average size of the building? If you can't answer me that, I'm like, okay, I'll see you next week. Learn your market. And because it's obviously I do it very nicely, but I'm investing a lot of money and my time into these people, and I expect to get a return. If they can't do that, then that percentage of you're going to fall into that. You're not going to make it most likely. But I tell you what, we still have turnover in our company. We're at 60%. A lot of it's been relocations over the last couple of years. Obviously, COVID really did a number to us. But I look at these; they're human investments. Is if I can help you make more money, then it's a win-win for everybody. I don't want you to just sit down and start cold calling. I want you to come talk to me about what's not working for you. Talk to me about what is working for you. How can we build the best salesperson that is going to be, or maybe it's leasing, whatever, real estate agent that's in the marketplace? Because once you get out there and you're talking to the right people and they see that you know your market that well, all of a sudden they start calling you because they know you're the professional in the industry. It doesn't really matter who we know in the marketplace. What matters more is who knows you. And you've got to build that reputation. And if you don't build that reputation, I can give you some examples. There was a company that we were interviewing one of their agents, and his first few days he was on cold call. He just kept getting hung up on. And I listened to his cold call. It's pretty good. There just wasn't any information there. And so I said, okay, I want you to take this week and I want you to just really learn your market. And he did it. And he, within the first week, he had appointments. He just wasn't given the training at the other company. He just needed the opportunity to learn. And if you give these people, especially this younger generation, I mean, Christina, they were born with one of these in their hand, right? Or probably you were too, I guess. But you just got to give them the opportunity and create and help them create that path forward. They'll excel. They'll excel. You got to get out of the old way of the way we do business in commercial real estate. And I think some of it still happens in residential too, but it's a great business and you can make a lot of money if you're given the right direction.
What is your secret sauce or superpower that you tell these agents to make them successful?
Well, mostly to me is just listening. I want to hear from them what is working for them, what's not working for them. But a lot of it is from their end is mindset. Because as you know, you're going to get your teeth kicked in a lot, right? In the beginning, especially. So it's mindset. But as far as the management side and the company side, it's listening to what's working for them, and then how you can help help them benefit from it. That's a tough one because it's ingrained in them by the time they get to us here. Most of it's in the pre-interviews is giving them real direction of what it's going to be like. So we'll do an interview, at least 2 interviews, sometimes 3 with a new agent, and we're flat out telling them, say, listen, in commercial real estate, you're going to be in the office at 8:30 in the morning, and you're not going to leave until the work is done, and that could be 5:30, 6, 8 o'clock at night. And I said, but you do that for a couple of years, you're building the foundation. Whereas in 4 years from now, I mean, we've got one agent, we've got examples of agents in our office. We've got an agent who's been with us for less than 4 years. She's doing over 400,000 this year. And, it's setting the example and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. Now, if you're going to not do everything we're telling you, it's going to take longer. So I really want you to be prepared and have that mindset that, listen, you're going to be in this office at least every day for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but then you're set. You're going to be good. And so I think it's really the company's responsibility to make sure that you put out what's really happening and what is going to really be needed.
Yeah, I think it's always so hard because everyone promises you that in interviews. Like, oh, yeah, I'll be here. I'll make 100 calls a day. I'll do all the open houses. And then once the beauty of being a realtor is you have that freedom. But good ones, I mean, we work harder than ever. It's like, okay, what vacation? But other ones, it's hard for them to create structure for themselves. And
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
tough to babysit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the thing right there, the structure. If you don't have structure in commercial and residential, I mean, I sat in a residential office for years, and I watched the top performers, extremely structured. They were the first ones in the office. They were there all the time. And then you saw the people just getting by. They were showing up at 10, doing lunch meetings, heading home around 3. It's not really like that in commercial, but if you really want to make it, you want to be a top producer, the mindset's the same in commercial and residential. You got to have that winning mindset.
Yeah, and you have to make a lot of friends. And do you have agents that come in that are maybe more introverted or not the, best friend of everyone that succeed?
Most of them. Most of them. Yeah, most of them that are getting into commercial that we're dealing with right now. Actually, that's a very good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. So I hadn't thought about it, but most of them are more analytical and they're not really out there going marketers. That has to be taught a lot more and getting to understand the 3 pillars to market yourself. And, that's a lot more. So yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, it's because I mean, a lot of times you just see different personalities, and sometimes that super outgoing realtor is that natural fit, kissing babies, shaking hands, going to networking events, and then other people struggle with that. And yeah, maybe if you're more analytical, I could see that. And commercial is all about who you know, for
Yeah,
sure.
it definitely is. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of opportunities. The residential real estate agents are so much better at the marketing than commercial agents. And I'm part of the Commercial Real Estate Influencer Summit, and that's about 140, 150 commercial real estate agents around the country. And we have the summit every year, and we talk about what's working in marketing and what's not working and where marketing is going. You know, I don't know that you really have that in residential because you guys are so good at it already. And so we needed to spill over more into commercial because the inbound leads close at such a higher rate than the outbound leads. And so it's something we're really focusing on with the Commercial Real Estate Influencer Summit. So you guys have residential's really got the commercial industry there.
So for all the residential agents out there, maybe this is your clue to maybe go learn some commercial because you're already killing it with social media, and it'd be an easy transition for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're thinking about, I really think we've had some luck with resident. Actually, we've had more luck with property management because they also knew how to market from marketing their properties and all that. But we have there's been agents that have done come from residential, and they want to do commercial, and they really know how to market themselves, and they can do very well with it. I just think in any industry, in real estate brokerage, if it's residential or commercial, if you're looking for a great way to make a living, pick one of those. They're completely different, but pick one of them and really focus on it, and you can make a killing.
If someone wanted to get into commercial, what would be their first steps?
Finding the right brokerage, and here's what I think is wrong, is something that is wrong, is you get your license and you start interviewing, and then you tend to go with most of the agent brokerages say, okay, we'll bring you on. And then you go in and everything that they said they were going to give you isn't exactly what was promised. So my advice is this: when you go out and interview, I want you to interview the brokerage firms as much as they're brokering you. Do research on each one of them before you go in. Talk to other brokers in the company. Talk to the staff if you can. If you know any of the clients they have, how are they treated? Really learn about the brokerage before you accept, and make sure if what kind of training do you give me? What kind of mentoring do you give me? What kind of compensation is there? Don't go for the highest split. Go where you can really build a foundation, especially if you're new. Because I'll get new agents, they just got licensed. Oh, I need a 90% split. I'm like, well, that's not commercial. And you have to explain the difference that in commercial, the company pays for all the tools. Well, not all of them, but they'll give you the base tools, and it's very, very expensive. And so a lot of companies are only going to give you a 50, 55% split to start. You might get up to 60 or 70 with the bigger firms, and the more boutique firms, you might get in the 70 or maybe 80%. But it's really critical that you interview the brokerage firm as much as they're interviewing you, because you're building a career and this is your foundation. So build it right.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. This has been great. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think you know what, it's a great industry. Like I said before, I think you really have to treat it as a career. I mean, if you went to college and this is what you want to do, or if you didn't go to college, I guess you don't need you just need your real estate license. Just really treat it like a career, and make sure when you're getting started, you build the base, because the base is where it's all going to set on the foundation of what you're going to build your career on. So be very particular about the company. Be very particular about the management in the company. Really do your research, and then have the right mindset. Come in and work hard.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Real Estate Rockstars, for hanging out with us once again. And we can't wait to hang out with you next week.
Thank you, Christina.